Hi everyone, it's Lisa. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to be making two cards using the Spellbinders October 2021 stamp of the month and the small die of the month. So here's what it looks like. You have your stamp set and you have the dies for the pickup truck. The pickup truck dies are the dies for the small die of the month club. And this is the stamp set for the clear stamp of the month. So you have a large word sending. You can say sending you or you can say for you. And then you can also say heartfelt thoughts, a big thank you, smiles of smiles, lots of love, all the best, a little treat, a little pickup, confetti wishes, birthday wishes, happy thoughts, Christmas cheer, a little something, hugs and kisses, a million thanks, a big congrats, warm holiday wishes, a truckload of happiness, and a big hello and the best gift ever. And then you can also stamp inside the truck the words special delivery and holiday express. So Spellbinders does have a new club, which is the stamp set as well as the coordinating die. And I will say that the coordinating die cuts out the words sending you or for you, but this die is currently sold out for the month of October. But you can still get the stamp set. The stamp set is still available, and the small die of the month, which is the truck and all the accessories, that is still available as well. So with the small die of the month, you get everything that you see here. So you have your large pickup truck. You can use this pickup truck for Christmas coming up. You can also use it for Thanksgiving, for the fall. You can use it for birthday. There's so many things that you can use this for. It does include the Christmas tree and the pumpkin that you saw there. There's also a die for a present and a bow, so you can make this again for a birthday, decorating that present however you want to decorate it. And then all the other pieces to decorate that pickup truck, such as the tires, the bumper, and so on. Now, if you happen to like this die and stamp set, I do want to mention that it is part of the October Club for Spellbinders, and keep in mind that you can cancel anytime. So if you wanted to join just to get this die and stamp set, you can join and you can cancel anytime. And I will provide a link in the description box of this video, which will take you over to this site and you can check that out. So my first card is going to be a winter themed card. I went ahead and die cut all of the pieces that I'm going to be using. And for this card, I'm using the truck and several trees. I went ahead and die cut the truck out of red cardstock. And then the trees, I die cut out of two different color green cardstock. And then this piece here is for the little fence piece that goes on the pickup truck, and then I also die cut all of the accessories. So what you see me doing here is just inking up the edges. I find that when I ink up the edges of cardstock, it just adds more dimension to those cardstock pieces, and I'm just using the same color ink as cardstock to ink up the edges. Next, I'm going to stamp out my sentiment. I'm going to use the word sending. And then I'm going to take one of the smaller sentiments and I'm going to stamp that out as well. I'm going to ink it up with some black ink. I want a very crisp impression. And then I'm going to use the dies and I'm going to die cut the word sending, and then I'm just going to use my scissors and just trim around the warm holiday wishes sentiment. If you do not have the dies to cut out the word sending, you can just use your scissors and fussy cut around if you want a very close cut. So I'm going to be using light blue cardstock and using this embossing folder from Spellbinders. It's the Big Dot Slimline embossing folder. And it puts these fun dots embossed into the background. That background piece is measured at 8 3/8 by 3 3/8. And then I'm just taking a piece of white cardstock and I'm cutting out just a hill border to represent a snowy scene on my card. And I'm doing that twice because I'm going to have two hillside borders. Now if you have a hillside border die, you can always die cut this step rather than using your scissors. So I go ahead and put glue on the back, and when I added glue, I did not add it all the way to the very top of that border. I wanted to leave some space in there to tuck the trees in, and I just press that down really well to attach that border, and then I just turn the card layer over, and I just trim off the excess border. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the next border. Again, don't put glue all the way to the very top edge, and then just trim off the excess. So now I'm going to go ahead and set up my scene. I'm tucking the trees behind the very top snowy border, and I'm putting every other one a different color. I'm going to put some on the top snowy border as well as on the bottom snowy border, and I'm positioning my sentiment in the middle of the card layer, and then I'm going to put my truck on there. Just want to make sure I have room for everything before I glue it down. So I always like to position everything out, and once I have everything laid out, I go ahead and glue it down. So with the truck, I put the wheels, I just kind of rested them where they need to go because I wanted to make sure that when I add the truck that I do add it high enough for those wheels. So notice that I added the tree first, then I glued the truck down, and now I'm just going to add all of the little pieces that I die cut for the truck. Now it does have these little pieces on the lines here that you see right now in white. I just die cut the truck again in a darker red color, and I'm putting those in as an accent color. It kind of represents a shadow, so you know how when you're doing some coloring with your Copics, you always put like a darker color for the shadow, and that's my intent here. I just die cut it with a darker color cardstock, just adding some glue and inserting these darker pieces. Next, I go to attach the fender, and I realize that I don't want to attach it all the way because I have to put this front bumper right underneath, and I'm going to put the one on the back side as well. And when I add the one on the back of the truck, I realize that I had them in the reverse order, so I do have to remove them and put the one in the front and the back and vice versa, and then I'll go ahead and be able to close the gap there on the fender. So press that down, and then I'm going to add the black, which is the largest circle die cut for the tire, and then the next largest is the white circle, and then the smallest circle is going to be in gray. And you can do your tires however you want to do the coloring. And then I have the little piece here for the handle for the door, and then this piece I just cut in half. It's a little round oval piece that I die cut in some orange cardstock. Just cut it in half for the headlight, and then I'm going to put the other piece on the back of the truck for the tail light. Next, I will attach the piece for the mirror. So just add a little glue and then add that little gray piece there. And then I'm going to start putting this little fence together. So I'm just going to lay it there on the table upside down, and then I'm going to attach the little vertical pieces right where those dots are. Just add some glue and then just attach it. I found that the easiest way to do this little fence, and then I'll be able to pop it there on the pickup truck. So now I'm just going to put glue on the back of all of these trees and attach them securely to my card front. And now that all of my trees are attached, I'm going to attach the sentiment. I'm trying to center the warm holiday wishes over top of the truck, and then I'll go ahead and add the word sending. And then I'm going to take that card front and I'm going to attach it to a Slimline card base. My card base measures 3.5 by 8.5 inches. So I just took a piece of white cardstock, cut it to 8.5 by 7, and then scored it at 3.5 inches on the 7-inch side. Now I'm just taking some glue and I'm just dabbing some glue on top of the trees, and I'm using a chunky glitter and just sprinkling it over the top, and it's gonna look like there's snow on these trees. And I am using a chunky glitter so that it actually looks like snow. If you use a fine glitter, it won't have the same effect. You totally could use a different size glitter, but to me, it's just not going to have the same effect. And then I'm just putting a little bit of glue there on the top of the fenders and the top of the truck, and also on that little fence on the truck, and adding some more chunky glitter. Next, I'm going to take some Glossy Accents and add them to the window portion of this truck, and what's nice about this is it's going to dry clear and hard. So now it's actually going to look like a glass window on the truck, which I love that effect. I am going to add some epoxy dots and then my card will be finished. Make sure that you let this dry flat so that all of the glossy accents and all of that glitter dry before you start handling your card. So here's some pictures of my completed card, and then I had to make another card. I wanted to show you how versatile this set is, so I'm going to make a fall themed card. Now remember, you can also use this for any occasion because that stamp set number 1 is for just about any occasion. There's birthday sentiments on there. There are missing you sentiments, thank you sentiments, lots of different occasions this can be used for. So here's my fall card. I do have different cardstock pieces that I cut down. I will have all of the measurements for all of these cardstock pieces in my blog. So if you want to duplicate this card, go to my blog at Lisa Mears Designs and check that out. So I'm using some teal cardstock, some orange cardstock, and then the pattern paper is from a old paper pad. It's an old Echo Park paper pad called Fall is in the Air. I don't even think they sell it anymore. But I chose to bring in some pattern paper on this card just to add a little bit of something extra. So I went ahead and die cut all of my pieces for my car, and I did die cut the pumpkins. The pumpkins, there's a stem and then there's a set of leaves, and I just added the stem to the pumpkin and then added the leaves just tucked behind the pumpkin. And I did do all my ink blending off camera, so I inked up all of the edges of the pumpkin just to add some dimension there. So I did ink up the edges in orange ink. Also the stems and the leaves I inked up in some green ink, and then the truck I did ink up in a teal ink. So I already did all of that off camera. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my pumpkins. Notice I'm adding the pumpkins first, and then I will add my truck afterwards. Now, as you can see, I'm actually building my truck right on the card layer, and I did that with the previous card too. So if you're doing it like I am, make sure you put your wheels down first. Don't actually glue them down, just place them there on the truck to make sure that when you add the truck, you have enough room and you don't put the truck too far down past the card layer and then you don't have room for your wheels. Now, you can always put all of the accessories there on the truck off the card layer and then glue the entire thing onto the card, but I chose not to do it that way. So here for these shadow pieces, I didn't have a darker color teal cardstock, so I just chose to insert these white pieces. So I just die cut the truck again in white, and I'm just adding white there for my accent pieces. So I'm just putting some glue there on those lines and then adding the white piece, just piecing them in. I'm just using my poker tool just to make sure that I get that white piece straight. And then I'm going to add the fender. I did add the bumpers first and then the fender. And then I'm going to finish up the wheels. And then here's the small dot there on the wheels. And then I've got all of these other little pieces. I've got the headlight. There's a lot of small little pieces, but when this comes together, it does look super cute. And I will say that for the holidays, the little pickup truck, this old-fashioned pickup truck, it is my favorite. I have done other cards on my YouTube channel using something similar to this, not this exact die obviously because it's brand new, but other dies and other stamps using the pickup truck, and I just love it for the holidays. So I did stamp out sending in a brown ink, and then the sentiment, a truckload of happiness, and then I added it to the card front, and I'm just adding some brown epoxy dots to the front as well. And just like with the previous card, I will add some glossy accents to fill in the window on this truck. And that's going to complete this card. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And again, if you want any card dimensions, head on over to my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. All the links for the products and my blog will be down in the description box. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye.